Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Off the Hook with MattyD. It has been a long time since I've had my guest back in the chair, and I can't wait to hear about what he's been doing lately. Of course, that guest is, there he is, Captain Simon Valencia of Current Culture
What's going on,
Fly.
Matty?
How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
You know,
We just wrapped up our spring striper and shad season, which went so good, except for your day.
No, don't even worry about it. We're not even bring that up there. So can I ask you a question? So you did really well on stripers, and a lot of great stripers. You even talked about that on your Instagram post. But did you find that the shad were not as plentiful this year?
100%. Yeah. The shad numbers didn't seem to be there in the way it had been years prior.
Okay.
They were very concentrated in a few spots this year. And if you weren't on them, and very small margins to where they wanted to be. And if you weren't on them, it was tough to catch. We did have a good shad season.
Right. But it was just a little bit more tricky to get to them or to find them because they really were where usually it seemed to be like they're in the James and they're all over the James. Yeah.
This year, they just seem to want to be schooled up, huddled up in a few spots. And to be honest, we just didn't. By the time the shad were supposed to be here in huge numbers, the stripers were.
Right.
We got on striped bass. The first day that we got into double digits of striped bass, of schoolie size striped bass, like 20-ish inch striped bass, was March 22nd. So it was pretty early, and stayed on them the entire time up until, we cut today.
Right. Yeah.
We've just been on top of those fish pretty consistently.
And I mean, certainly a fun fish, but you also started to make some runs out toward some of the rivers, toward the Chesapeake Bay. We're not going to give locations out.
Yeah.
And you started checking out how your reds were doing. And that's the title of our show today, Reds, and More Reds, because as we've talked about, this is your favorite fish. And you started to find them first and early, and you've now been living out there. It's game on early.
Yeah. So, because the spring was so dry, the way that we book spring is we book really heavy late March and through April, expecting that MattyD is going to send a ton of rain, but he didn't. He didn't send a ton of rain, and the river was fishable every single day of April.
Such a rarity.
So yeah, it was super weird. But the river was fishable the entire month of April. So the week and a half, the 10 days that we leave in May, that we book very, very light, that we use to reschedule the people who
get flooded out, rained out, whatever it is. Yeah.
And essentially when we take our weekends, those days were open. So late April, early May, all of a sudden I had availability.
Right.
Opened up a few dates for redfish, and they've been going quick. And the people who have been coming out have been handsomely rewarded because it has been absolutely killer. It's just been on fire.
You have seen not only schools of reds, but the size, as we're seeing in this picture here, have been absolutely incredible.
Just wild. We have not put a fish in the slot, which is 18 to 16, or a smaller fish to the boat this year. So far, all the fish that we've been putting to the boat are 28, 29, 30, 34. I got a big fish myself very big fish to the boat in the 40s. And as I was pulling it out of the water for the picture, I slid out of my hands and swam away. But I'm okay with that.
Yeah. You're gonna release it anyway. You have a bunch of pictures. It's fun no matter what.
Yeah. But the size we've been seeing is just unreal. Just consistently large fish. This was a 30. And you can see how shallow and clear that water is.
And that's kind of rare for this time of year to be this clear, because usually we get the rains all spring that kind of flood the stuff down and you can't get water like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's spotty out there, right? So it's patches of mud here and there, especially if it gets windy. It will pick up patches of mud, but it's just you move 300 yards and it's gin clear. So the visibility has been really good. The size of the fish, really shallow, has been absurd. I mean, it's just been, usually we don't see fish that big, that shallow.
Right.
Usually we're really happy with 22 to 28 inch fish, and we're seeing 28 to 35 inch fish pretty consistently.
Sure.
Which is exciting.
Yeah, for
really,
sure.
really exciting. I don't think they're going to be around, those fish in this size. This was 29 on the dot. And this guy really, really could fish. This guy was an amazing angler, and a real pleasure to have on the boat. I'll never forget the day I had with this man.
Yeah.
It was a special day. That was what was May? I think it was May 10th. May 10th was the day I had with this guy. So yeah, we were just on top of them consistently. Beautiful big fish nonstop. Shallow. Like shin deep shallow.
Wow.
Consistently seeing these big, beautiful fish in no water. With him, cool story.
Yeah.
We got out to where I was like, I've been seeing the reds, and I was like, hey, Marty, we're going to go out to where I've consistently been seeing them. It's going to be on here. I told you the first few hours was going to be difficult because the wind was so high we couldn't get to where we wanted to. It's time. Wind died down. Made our run. Push up onto this flat. Within probably 5 minutes of me starting to pull, I see a big silverfish in like 2 feet of water.
Oh, geez.
Big silverfish. And I turn and I'm like, not a tarpon. That's a huge striped bass.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, that fish was a tank. Huge striped bass. And, placed Marty for the perfect shot, gave him an 11. Fish turned on the fly and denied it. Swam away. We
looked at it and didn't want to go.
Did not want to go, which was a very odd. I never, not never, but I rarely see stripers that shallow, so I don't really know what the procedure is, And if anybody knows how to catch striped bass shallow like that, please let me know. We were on a redfish fly. If we were I know that the New England guides chase them really shallow in the summer, but they're chasing them with a lot bigger fly than
huge, like 7-8 inch bunker style flies.
And I think that's probably why he didn't turn on it,
because it was too small.
Yeah, 6 inches, 3 inches, is the fly that he put in front of that fish. It's actually the fly that he has on that picture. And you can see it's just a tiny little crab. And it's not very big. It's, about 3 inches total. And that fish turned on it, looked at it, and said, no, thank you.
And then took off, gone.
And then took off, and it was gone. But less than 5 minutes later, he got the shot at this fish and made it happen.
That's a beautiful fish.
Yeah, no, absolutely stunning. Yeah. And Marty's a painter, and he gave me the best painting I've ever gotten from anybody, the best present. He gave me this beautiful painting of a redfish afterwards. And Marty's a very experienced, well-traveled angler. And he had never fished the lower Chesapeake. He's from Maryland.
Okay.
I'd never fished the lower Chesapeake, and he was just like, I've been Florida for reds, I've been in South Carolina, North Carolina, and he's like, I've never seen anything like this. And I was like,
so how do you say anything like this? Quantity of fish, quality of fish,
both.
All. Okay, good.
All of the above.
Good. So instead of traveling down to the Carolinas, now he's looking, hey, Simone, let's go again. Hey, Simone, let's go again, which is what you want in a repeat client.
Exactly. No, he's looking at it already at another date this summer. And I'm more than excited to take this guy because he is very good.
Good.
Very, very good. So
good, that balances out when you have to fish with me and I can't throw the fly more than 3 feet.
You can throw the fly. You can.
We're getting there.
You've gotten it done many times.
We're getting better and better as we continue to work on. So, which is always good.
I've seen you land nice redfish.
Fighting is not the issue. It's hitting 70 feet for you that becomes the issue.
In the wind, accurate.
Right, 100%. And look, I know where my limitations are. I know where my work's got to be as well. Another beautiful redfish here. Tell me a little bit about this trip.
So this day was blowing really hard.
You could see the riffles in the water.
Oh,
behind.
it was. I mean, we were getting blown around, and I was just like, "Hey, I have no option but to pull with the wind and put the brakes on the boat." That's all I was doing: putting the brakes on the boat, putting the brakes on the boat, putting the brakes on the boat. Ran across a little school of them. I think there were 6 or 7. When it gets choppy like that, they get less spooky. So it's a short cast, but it's a 30-mile-an-hour gust. So good luck. Um, and Matt got it done pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We saw lots of fish that we just could not get a shot fired at them
because the wind is just ripping against you. Yeah.
And we had a little window there of peace, but it didn't last long. It did not. The wind just picked up. Thanks, Matt.
No problem. Let me, because I'm always about giving you wind. Look, if I don't give you wind, I'm going to give you rain. If I don't give you rain, I'm going to give you, I don't know, snow. Who knows?
Don't give me more snow.
Yeah, no, for sure. I want to bring up a video here. Oops, let me go back. There we go. I mean, great. Oh, so this was the shot you were taking. You going for a couple of big redfish there.
I actually had that guy on the boat this week too. And it was the only day he had to go. I was like, it's cloudy. We're not going to see anything. It's going to be really tough. And he's like, I'm getting back surgery. I have to go.
Right.
I'm like, okay. Look. And we're just not seeing, and we're spooking fish, but we're not seeing them. We see them run away.
Right.
And then end of the day.
Did you come up on a big pot of orange or something?
No, just hand-sized tails out of the water like this.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, you see that? And he's like, I can't miss that. Just like, hey, redfish over here, redfish. So we push to it. My boy makes this cast, gets an eat, but doesn't come tight. Just, it happens sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect presentation, everything was right. He just didn't come tight. It happens every once in a while. Then he makes another cast. The fish are still there, and he lands it on the tail. Gone.
Spooks it off.
Yeah. Texts me the next day. I can't say I cried last night, but I can't say I didn't cry.
Grown men don't cry, Simone.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was, and they were just huge. Yeah. I mean, those fish were in 30s, like solidly in the 30s. They were massive fish.
Well, and that's some of the pictures that you've been pulling up here too. I mean,
this one was really nice. We all know that no one loved this guy. I just want to say that I first called you.
You did. You absolutely did. You've called me 3 times.
And you're like, no, I got to go make weather.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do have to work. I mean, look, all right, you know what? Blame JB that he retired. So now I'm working nights because you're calling me at like 10:30 in the morning, which is the right time to call me on my old shift because I'd be like, I'll see you down there.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, yeah, I got 2 hours before I have to go into work. Thanks. I appreciate it.
But I called you and I was like, hey, Matty.
I know you did.
I know where they are.
Yeah. I know.
And honestly, it wasn't even that. I was like, Matty, you're free, and you were like,
no,
I can't. And I'm like, you were like, why? And I was like, actually, don't worry about it. I don't want to bum you out too much. I'll bum you out when we catch a big one. But
I'm happy that you're into these fish so early because this is your pride and joy.
Yeah.
And so this makes it fun, right?
Yeah. Usually I don't start my season till like mid-May. This year I started late April.
Right.
So 2 weeks head start it makes me happy. It fills me up with joy pretty quickly. I got a really good feedback the other day. I got a referral from another guide, and the client told the other guide, like, thanks for sending me with this guy. We had a great time. It just seemed like you really care how we did. And I was like, I did, know, and that's very clear. And to me that it came across to him was important to me. So that was probably the biggest compliment that I've ever gotten is he really cared how we did. Even though these guys were like, you're like, I know how this goes sometimes. And I'm like, no, this is not how it goes. We're working till we can't work no more.
Right.
And we're gonna once that sun gets low, that's your
cutoff.
If we can't see, we can't see. But
correct.
Until we can't see, we're going.
Right.
Thankfully, these guys got it done pretty quick. But it's
so you weren't polling for 14 hours.
No, I did. So it's funny that you say that because I was looking at conditions that day, and the wind was supposed to be really high in the morning and
then
die off. And I was like, hey, let's go at 9. We'll work this sheltered part and then move on. I should have made the decision to go at 10, but I was stubborn. And usually, I want to get people warmed up. And I was like, let's go at 9.
Right.
We went at 9, and the wind didn't die down till like an hour late after it was supposed to. And I was like, boys, this is my bad. And I actually ended up pushing them for an extra hour at the end of the day. But these guys were all about it. Right. They were like, 9 hours of fishing. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
These boys were.
And as long as they appreciate it, not only in talking about it, but at the same time, that's above and beyond your quote unquote guide day. So, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you work harder, I'm going to pay you an extra gratuity because I appreciate the work. I mean, I'm just being flat honest. I mean,
and they understood that, and they were very kind at the end of the day to me. They were very kind to me, including those paintings.
Right.
I mean, that was a day that I'll never forget.
Sure.
Just everything about their delivery to those flies, their attitudes on the boat. I mean, they just allowed themselves to have the best times. They came prepared. They knew what we were signed up to do. They were not overestimating their skill. They, when I talk to people, I'm like, the only reason why I check their skill level and ask questions like, can you do this? Can you deliver this?
Right.
It's not because I don't want to take people. It's because I want them to have
the best experience.
Right. And if I can't get you to make a cast at a fish that if I get any closer, we're going to spook, then your day is going to, I don't say you're going to have a bad day.
It's just not going to be as good as what it could be.
Right. You're probably not going to catch fish. I don't think that makes a bad day. A bad day is if we don't see them. A bad day is if, I run aground or make an unsafe decision, or
which you don't do. You're extremely cautious. You're very client focused, client centric. You give everybody, I've been out with you a number of times. I mean, probably almost a dozen now. Yeah. I mean, and it's, even when it's just, hey, Matty, can you go? Versus, hey, Simone, I'm booking you for this day. It's always an experience where I'm learning more than I need to be catching. And maybe I'm a different client because I'm always like, hey, look at my cast. What am I doing wrong? Hey, you're using too much arm. You use more torso. We're working on my skill level so that I can get the back end better. You've seen, I can put fish on, I can land fish. That's not a big deal to me, right?
No, you can fight fish real well.
Or I want to improve my overall experience on the water.
And coming prepared, right? That's the big thing. I always tell my clients when I'm having this conversation with them that, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? I just tell them, look, the last thing you want is an 8-hour casting lesson.
Right.
A very expensive 8-hour casting lesson.
Right.
Let's get a casting lesson done off the water where, we're not blowing shots and no one's getting frustrated and we can build on that. But, of course, when we're on the boat, especially for stripers where, you're casting so much, it's fine. But with redfish, if you cast 10, 20 times in a day,
that's a lot.
That's you've had a great day.
Right.
You've had a great day. If you can't deliver on those dozen shots, I'm not gonna catch fish.
It makes a very tough day for sure.
So, to me, I'm happy looking at turtles and birds and rays. And so I've had many shutdowns on guided trips myself, but people hire a fishing guide to catch fish, to have a great day, of course.
Right.
Which hopefully includes catching fish. So when I don't have the level on the boat, I always just like to, I always tell people, look, I'll take you. I'll happily take you. But if you can't deliver this, you're not going to catch fish. And that's just on you at that point.
Right.
Redfish are fair. You do the right things, they're going to eat. Always. You're going to catch them. Right.
They seem to always be hungry. I mean, as long as the fly is in somewhere in front of his face, they seem to always want to at least make a move for it. Yeah. Whether you can then set the hook, whether you can, that's a whole different game. But
they'll play.
Yeah.
It's rare that we get a redfish that doesn't. It happens, but it's rare.
Yeah.
You know, if you place that fly where it needs to go, you're very likely gonna get an eat. And that, I mean, that's what I love about fishing for them, is a test of skill.
Mm-hmm.
I always say it's very fair, but it's very hard.
There is a stealth to it because you, as you said, you can't bring the boat super. I mean, when you pole, you're poling very quietly. You don't want the angler, the client, to don't rock the boat, don't create waves. You know, you're sitting there, you're ready to go at any moment. I mean,
Don't put a shadow on them.
Right? Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, it's very hard.
Right.
Very, very hard. But if you nail every aspect of it, you're gonna get a fish. You know that, and that's the beauty of it. It's a true test of skill with a very fair reward.
Right.
It will tell you if you did everything right, and it will tell you if you did one thing wrong.
Whereas stripers, just for instance, you cast somewhere out there, you strip, you let it dance in the water. They see it, they're just attacking. There's skill to the fight because they're a good fighting fish, but it's not, you know, it's not this, because you can cast 25, 30 feet to a striper.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And the skills are different too, right? With stripers, you have to understand, I think you have to get into their heads more, where they are, if they're feeding or not feeding. Like if they're feeding aggressively, you strip really fast. If not, which we experienced the day, I was like, hey, they're not feeding, just let it hang.
Yep.
Let it hang, and don't, when it turns into the current, that's where they're gonna hit. And that's how it was. We caught what, 3 fish?
Yeah.
Two,
I mean,
fish
you just just cast
it
out, let it go out in the current, let it swing, which is so weird because you think of, you know, swinging for trout, not right. And then all of a sudden you're like, and then wait,
keep strip
go again. Wait. It's like, you know, it's like
womp, womp.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're on. You know. But yeah, different.
With stripers, you have to get into their head and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's more of a mind game than a skills game.
Mm-hmm.
Trout is the extreme example of that. It's fully a mind game. Like the skill level required for trout, as far as like casting goes.
You're casting 7 feet, 20 feet.
Yeah.
But it's got to be so delicate on the water. It's got to float. It's got to look like the hatch. It's, you know.
Yep.
And then there's this
fly selection,
yes,
leader selection. You really have to get into their heads.
For sure. And I'm not mocking it because there's a whole skill to it.
Yeah.
But every different fish, every different species is a different style of fishing.
Right. I always say like flats fishing is like golf or like darts, and trout fishing is like chess.
Yeah.
It's very in the head. You know, one is about, can you perform in this situation now?
Right.
And the other one is, can you crack the code?
Yeah.
And with trout, if you crack the code, you're gonna have a great day.
You have a great day. Yeah.
Which I don't.
You're not into it. It's not your thing.
And also, I'm not good at it. So, so you know, I can deliver a fly to the fish, but from there to knowing what they're eating or what they're not eating or whatever,
for sure,
that's a different skill. With redfish, if you deliver it and twitch it twice,
which is why the title of today is Reds, Reds, and More Reds.
Reds. But yeah, we've been seeing lots of wonderful fish. You know, as we come into the full moon, they do slow down a little bit because I think they feed at night as well.
Okay.
They get hungrier off the full moon. The week leading up to the full moon is great, and then the week after is tough. This is a lovely fish.
It's pretty.
Beautiful
so
fish.
Pretty.
I've
noticed a lot of the bottoms are more pure white. Is that because they're coming into warmer water right now versus the...
Well, it's the back that's bronze that gives us that contrast.
Okay.
So those fish, we're finding them strictly over grass right now. Strictly over grass.
Gotcha. There's
no sandfish. There's no mudfish. They're like, I've seen a couple cruise over sand between grass spot to grass spot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just see them and I'm like, that fish is not hanging around on the sand.
Right.
And very few fish back in the mud flats. Very few. They seem to want to hang out on the sand, over the grass right now, and it's like night and day once you're over grass. I don't think we've caught a single fish over grass over sand or mud in the last few weeks. It's just all over grass flats.
Believable.
And we're seeing massive schools of them. We're seeing singles and doubles. We're seeing, I mean, every iteration of a redfish shot that you would want to get, we're getting right now is just all over grass. And that's normal for spring and like early summer is they're going to be consistently over grass. Once it heats up pretty good, we'll find them over sand a little more, which I don't know why, because I figured the sand would be hotter, but maybe it isn't. I'll ask the scientist.
Yeah, I mean, so in the water, it would be different. I would think, I don't know. I mean, I would think that the sand would be like, but then over water, maybe it's not. Maybe because it's more white, there's more reflectivity versus, you know, the grasses, which are darker browner, maybe that's warmer. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I ended up waiting the other day a little bit over grass, and I could feel that bottom be warm, and the water is still in like high 60s, low 70s.
Right.
But the bottom on the grass was warm. Like I could feel it on my feet. I don't recommend anyone wet wades in the Chesapeake Bay, but I did because I wanted to know what was happening.
Yeah.
I took my wading boots off to see like
feel what's
and the bottom was warm.
Interesting.
It was warmer than the water. I could like feel it on my. It was like 3-4 degree difference.
Interesting.
That I could. I mean, it was enough to where my feet could feel it.
Right. Right.
But yeah, they've been consistently on grass, and it's just gonna keep getting good and better. The big fish are probably gonna join a school of bulls here in the next few weeks,
and then they go out.
To bigger water. We will have them in the Chesapeake all summer long.
Sure, but they're just not in the flats that you're fishing. Like right now, you're seeing them in 2-3 feet of water.
Yeah.
Then they're going to go into 20, 30, 40 feet of water plus.
Correct.
Right.
And then they will float. You know, that's always really exciting when those big bulls are, you know, have 40 feet of water underneath them and they're at the surface and you're like, why are you doing that? But I'm glad you're doing that.
Because I want a shot.
Yeah, I mean, if we see them do that, we're going to get a shot and we're probably going to get a monster fish.
Right.
But yeah, the fish that are going to stay close to shore are going to be under 32. That 34 is probably that 34 that Aaron got. 34, 35 was like right in between. Depend on how you pinch the tail.
Right.
Yeah, no, the other one.
Oh, the other one. Yep.
That one. That fish took us for a ride. It took us for a ride. He hooked up. We had a school of 10 fish of about this size, made his cast, hooked up immediately. And then it just I had to chase him with the boat for about 400 yards. And
so we're just going to say that Aaron really didn't fight the fish well.
No,
no, just
you hook it. Go hook into that fish and you tell me. No, it's what we needed to do.
Right. The problem is that unlike a river where there's confined area, that ain't no confined area out there. It's open game.
Yeah, the flat we were on was a quarter mile till it dropped off to like 6 feet. This fish wasn't a foot. It was a quarter mile till it drops off, and it drops off to about 6 feet, and that's exactly the run that fish made.
Wow.
Just straight out, and we chased him to where it was like right at the drop off. That's where that fish began to slow down.
Right.
And once it slowed down, I definitely took a video of that run, but I had to push to stay on him because I was like, he's going to spool us.
Right. Because, you only have 200, 300 yards of backing plus 40 yards, 50 yards of fly lines.
On a 20 to 25 pound fish on 16 pound leader.
Right.
Right. Like it was just, we're
maxing it out here.
Yeah. We're at our limit.
Right.
That fish is going to win. So we had to chase this fish down, which made it all the more exciting.
Of course.
And that was Aaron's personal best, which I was really happy to. We were driving together, and I was like, he was telling me about his personal best, and I was like, I've been seeing your personal best every day out here.
Right.
Like our chances, I would say it's 50-50 that we break it.
Wow.
if you perform.
Yeah, of course. Right.
And then he did and nailed this fish. We were out for like 3.5, 4 hours, half day. And that's the only fish we caught. But
that you only need one if you're getting your personal best, you know?
Right. That's the only that's the only shot we had. That's the only fish he caught.
Right.
He fought it for 20 some minutes. So he was hooked up a good amount of time. And then I was like, hey, we could go look for more, but your time's almost up. I think we
hit the jackpot.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to get any better.
Right.
He casted one time all day.
That's it.
One time.
Just saw that one school and that was it.
That was it. That was the one.
Right.
It was, I mean, it's perfection.
That's awesome.
It was perfection. So this one will also live in my memory rent free. This was a good fish. Really good fish. So these guys probably won't be shallow for much longer.
Right.
I'd say beginning of June, we probably won't see those fish in the mid 30s that shallow. We'll continue to see fish in the low 30s, but most of them are going to be in the 20s. And that's where, that's what I like to chase. If these guys are shallow and acting like little guys,
then
all day long.
All day long, right.
But which is what we've been seeing all of May and even late April. It's just big fish, very shallow.
That's awesome.
So it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So hopefully, I think for next year, I'm probably going to end up starting to book redfish a little earlier.
To get out there more at the end of April again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make my striper run a little shorter.
Right.
Which, book it up. If you want to get out for stripers, book it up because that's we ran every day we could possibly book. So we left, of course, the rescheduled dates, but we have a ton of opportunities coming up here. The ability to get better at everything.
You've fly tying coming up Thursday, May 22nd. You're actually doing two. One is already passed.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at this one's at Triple Crossing in Midlothian, which I love the fact that you do them there. I think they're great. I think it's is a lot of fun. You do two separate things. You invite everybody to come, and then for people who want to learn, there's a little bit of a fee, like $20, $25.
It's
not
20.
a big deal. And you provide materials and vices, and you teach a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But for others that just want to tie, you're offering a different group, and you're just tying together and having a good time.
Yeah. So social tying's free.
Yeah.
Right. I don't. You bring your own stuff. I don't bring anything. It's all on you. We have plenty of people that just come to kick it.
Mm-hmm.
To social tying. They don't even tie. They just come and hang out.
Yep.
And that's encouraged. It's the whole community building part of the business, if you will.
Right.
I don't even see it as a business. I see it more of a mission. These community building things are more of part of the mission. It's good for business, don't get me wrong, but it's just keeping everyone coming back to see each other and fish together. The number of times I came out in the spring and saw two dudes that met each other through one of these tying nights, fishing together. I can count. I'm out of fingers, and I can't count past my fingers. So
that's great because you're helping to build this community. I mean, I also noticed, I'm just a sidestep here, you're wearing the Richmond Fly Women hat today, which is, a great group of women, Kenzie, Tori, Hannah, I'm forgetting
Virginia.
I mean, so many, right? But I mean, and they started this Instagram page, and they're getting more and more women in our area that are fly fishing and trying to get them together. Yeah. So we're trying to build this community because there's so much here to offer. So I think that's great. You've been doing that now. You opened the shop, 5-6 years ago? Not the brick and mortar's closed, but you're still using the shop as a way to create events like a fly tying, like beginner's fly classes, to grow the community.
Right. And I think that, I have a really good friend who once she wanted to pick up fly fishing, and I was like, absolutely. And she just mind you, this is a woman with a major in philosophy, a PhD in philosophy and whatnot. So she was like, she just said something to me very crucial, and it's stuck, and I use it all the time. Fly fishing is about connection. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I see what you mean, but what do you mean? She's like, in every which way. You're connecting with other people. You're connecting with the environment. You're literally connecting with the fish. It's about connection. No matter how you see it, connection's the word that comes to mind. And to me, community is part of that connection.
Right.
I love being able to facilitate that since we've had the shop, and it gave us a platform to facilitate that kind of connection. And I find it really important. Heck, I've met my best friends in this entire period through stuff like this. And you can't put any value on friendship.
Right.
You made a really good friend that you fish with a lot now.
Ron Binstock.
You've traveled with him through a fly tying class.
He's a fun guy. He's a spin guy. We're trying to convert him into fly tying.
He's been converted.
I think so.
He's been converted.
Out of nowhere, he asked about my Pulaski trip. We took him on that. He and I have hooked up with you a number of times. We've gone out to the fly tying. I gave him a vise because I had an extra old vise. And so, this is just like, it's growing, and I think it's great, but beside this video podcast, I've met you through fly tying and fly fishing. And we've developed a wonderful friendship, a great relationship.
Absolutely.
It is priceless. You could text me anytime. I can text you anytime. We can talk, and you can make fun of me, and that's what you do. And that's great. I love it,
Well, I only make fun of you because you ruin the weather.
That's okay. That's what I do for a living. All right, let me bring up this thing. So, all right, so a couple of things I'm noticing in here, Simone. Beside the fly tying, Saturday, May 24th, you're doing a casting clinic?
Yeah. Oh, I need to fix that. The guy who works on this site and these emails has a hard time spelling.
Let me show you who that person is right there. Go ahead.
Our social media manager is
right there.
He's as smart as a fish.
Right there. Go ahead. All right. So Saturday, May 24th, casting clinic.
Yeah, casting clinic, May 24th. We have 2 spots left for this.
Okay.
This is my favorite way to get someone started fly casting. And even the people who tried to book me for a private lesson, I always tell them, if you can make it to the group class, it's going to be the same lesson that we do private. Private is a lot more expensive.
Of course.
And I go to you wherever you want me to go. There's a price. I will go wherever, but I'll go to you and do the lesson. These are the same exact lessons. It's just in a group setting. The group, however, is only 6 people, so it's not like you're lost in a group of 20.
Right.
We cap it at 6. I don't feel like I'm an effective instructor past 6. We used to do 8, and it was too much. 6 is the right number. We start with a conversation of what a fly cast is, what a fly cast does, and why we cast differently in different situations, and understanding the rod tip, understanding our body's portion of the equation, understanding muscle memory, and finally understanding how we load a rod with the line so that we can eventually load the line so that we can get it to travel through air, which is not space, but through air, reduce air friction, or adjust our loop for sinking line, or adjust our loop so that it lands delicately at a short distance for trout or whatever. So it's a heavy conversation on that for about an hour. Once we have the concept, we fire off some exercises, and then we start coaching with rods on the water. So it is a really fun 2 hours. It is, everybody's laser focused every time. It's so much fun to teach, because I feel like it's one of the times that I'm most effective as an instructor is with that casting lesson, because I've done so many now.
Look, you and I have done it on the boat. We've done it, in spades. And, one of the things that I do, which I'm trying to change, is because I learned all arm. Everything is from shoulder forward. And you're like, Matty, that's great, except for the fact that you're losing 90% of your power. So go from your hips and your torso and turn this way. And once we did that, I was like, you're like, look at the difference. I'm like, there's no effort. He's like, you're like, yes, there's no effort now.
Now, the big thing for you is believing that, because you can do it and I've seen you do it. Now you just have to like,
it's the muscle memory.
Yeah. Well, it's just so hard to fight, right?
Yeah.
When you've been doing something the same way for 20 years,
20 plus years. Yeah, exactly.
Then like overriding what you know is really hard. So I love this class for beginners because I truly believe that it's the right foundation for someone to move forward, understanding that there is no one way to cast. You should be adjusting your cast for every situation, right? You know, for stripers, with a sinking line, you widen your loop around your body. Same with muskie. For trout, over, right? Roll cast is its own thing, but the principles still apply. And then if you're trying to shoot lasers at a moving target, that's a whole different story.
Right.
And all of them are going to be good ways to cast. Is which one do you need
at that particular time?
And the reason why I had this guy reach out to me this week and he's like, hey, I need instruction, and I was like, I just don't want to, and this is my new policy, is I just won't do instruction without the hour and a half of class first, because we can't communicate in
the language.
We need the foundation.
Yep.
I need you to understand, because I don't want you to cast like me. I want you to cast the best you cast, right? The best casters I've seen don't cast like me. They cast like them. And that's what makes them great casters. Flip palette, right? Phenomenal cast. Does not look at all like me. Right. Flip palette, lefty cray. Don't look at all like each other. Phenomenal casters, both of them. I cast with Wayne McMasters. He's 6'3" and looks like a small mountain. Me, I'm almost that tall. I'm nowhere near that tall. I'm nowhere near that tall, and I'm shaped like a box. So I have to cast very different from him.
For sure.
People with mobility restrictions, there's still a way in which we can do it. And honestly, I've seen some people with mobility restrictions that, because of the restriction, are forced to cast well using less effort. And they have beautiful casts.
Yes, right.
Like people with rotator cuff issues. Oh,
because they can't move this, so everything is all body. Yeah.
No, and you see that, and you're like, yeah, you shouldn't have been using that in the first place. So good. I'm glad that you're not. I'm sorry it hurts.
Sorry that your arm is destroyed.
Yeah. Sorry you need surgery, but it's making you a very effective caster.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, the casting lessons are a lot of fun to teach. I think everyone gets their money's worth out of that $20 class.
For sure.
Tenfold.
But yeah.
And for me, that's a, from a business perspective, that's how I introduce people to it. And hopefully, they realized I'm not full of baloney and I'm a nice enough guy. And hopefully down the road they book. So it's a win-win for everybody. That's why those classes, I make them at that price. And it's a ticket into the sport.
To the sport, right.
So I love teaching those. It's my favorite thing to teach.
Now, the next ticket into the sport is May 31st to June 1st, noon to 4 each day, 2-day class. This is a weekend, 2-day comprehensive class on beginners fly tying and fly fishing. This is the A to Z by Simone.
Yeah, I love this class too. So we have a building to ourselves. We are unbothered. I will not disclose the location until you book. But it is in Richmond, downtown Richmond. Think VCU area. So for most people, they don't have to go very far.
Right.
And it's a lot of information. We used to try to do it and bang the 8 hours in one day, and
it's
people would leave dizzy.
Yeah.
So now we broke it up into a nice weekend. It allows people to have breakfast and like hang out with their families on the weekend, and then come for 4 hours and still have an evening.
Right.
And do it again the next day. We do have the whole casting component to it. We do that same class with a little more attention to the individual. We touch base on gear basics. What is a 7-weight sinking line, right? Like a lot of people who don't fish, what is that?
Right.
What is an 8-weight sinking? What is an intermediate line? What's a shooting head? Why is the leader tapered? What what reel should I be using in this situation? And we go through that in depth so that you know what to look for moving forward, or at the very least ask the right questions if you're thinking of buying gear,
Right.
choosing the right gear for what you're trying to do. We go into knot tying, leader. We make our own leaders. There's a bonus fly tying component on Saturday night for the people who want to stay a little extra.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I do a little class, the same class that I do at Triple Crossing. We just tie a fly that works well.
But you're giving that newbie a look at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's awesome, because there are so many different things. Like, I started fly fishing. It was a small little class. We ended up later in the day on the water, put little trout on, fine. But, so that got me my rod, that got me my line, and we used a 5-weight floating line, blah, blah, blah. And then a year later, I'm like, instead of buying these flies, how do you tie them? And now I'm in fly tying. So you're giving everybody that little exposure that they need so they can see the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a full, you get to, in my head, I want people to walk out of it with more questions than answers, but better questions. Right? Informed questions. So we talk about how to fish for bass, which is our most readily available fish around here.
Yep.
How to fish for bass. And we go through like all of the techniques through the seasons, and we go through a lot of different species that you can catch within a 2-hour drive, hour and a half drive. Right. And we talk about a little bit about the techniques and how they feed and how they act. We talk about all of these things, and it gives you a really broad perspective.
Yep.
And it allows each person to grab onto what they need to grab onto to move forward. So some of the people who come spend their weekends in Virginia Beach, and some of them spend their weekends in the mountains, and some of them spend them here in Richmond, and there's something there for everybody. But they understand that cast that works in Virginia Beach is not going to work for the Stripers downtown, which is not going to work for the Shenandoah Valley. And like they have an understanding that, like, again, more questions than answers, but it's the right questions, questions that allow for growth.
Yeah.
And that's the goal of that class, is to not necessarily to answer all the questions, is to, here's an expose of what fly fishing in Virginia is. These are the skills that you're going to need. These are the skills that you're going to hone. This is fly tying. This is fly selection. These are some of the different popular fly patterns. This is how you tie your knots. We teach a total of 4 knots that I think are crucial, and then 3 knots that I think are helpful. We simplify it. It's not 60 knots. We keep
there's so many knots. You could be, there's books of knots.
Yeah. I don't use more than 7 knots ever as a guide. 7 knots is the number, and that includes setting up a new rig.
Right.
I just teach what I have found to be useful. And we don't lose fish on my knots. Right. We just don't lose fish on my knots. We break off fish. That's a different animal. But we don't lose fish on my knots. So I teach those. It really is. And after the second day, if MattyD makes conditions align, we will go out.
I love how I get blamed for everything.
You're the weatherman.
I know. Thanks.
If you allow us to go, we will go and catch some panfish.
Right.
Immediately after the class. Some people have a hard 4 p.m. cutoff. For those who don't, like Jackie, when she came, she was the only one who didn't have a 4 p.m. cutoff.
And
we went and
got a panfish.
Caught a couple panfish. She had never seen a fly rod the day before. She caught a fish the next day on her own cast, with a rod that she set up and tied the knot on. So, like, the goal is to have someone like Jackie who is just, I guess I'm curious about fly fishing too. I can go fly fishing. Right. And I can make these decisions on my own.
Yep.
And I can look at a river gauge and know it's not safe. Yeah. And it's arming people to be able to do this on their own, safely, ask the right questions when they go to a fly shop, ask the right questions when they type something in Google. and book the right experiences for them. It really is, in my head, a perfect beginner's class, and I'm really proud of the way that we've done it. It's also a class we've done many dozens of times.
Yes.
At this point, that that I have seen people go from that class to sight casting redfish and cobia.
That's awesome.
And landing, right? Like, and I've done this,
and that's
just
great
long
evolution.
enough.
I mean, that's like, I'm not sure. All of a sudden, I'm going to go for one of the more hardest fish to, and that's great.
Right, and I've seen it happen. Now, I mean, I can list people, like I have lists of people that I've seen that evolution with.
That's awesome.
Because I've been doing this now a reasonably long enough time to where I've seen people start from day zero,
right,
to incredible anglers,
right.
And that fills me with joy. That makes me so happy. It's why I come back to do these classes, because I just want to keep that going,
that knowledge going, for sure.
Yeah.
Coming up also is everybody's favorite August 25th date to beat. Come on, can we get a date on this yet? I mean, the Panfish tournament.
The Panfish tournament is a blast.
You were talking about it the other day on Instagram, saying we got great prizes, and I still am not releasing the date yet. I mean, I'm chomping at the bit for a date. Can we narrow it down? Is it going to be a weekend?
It's going to be a weekend.
Okay, good. So we only got 4 weekends in the month of August.
It's going to be a weekend in August, and it's going to be towards the middle.
All right, good.
We're locking down the location. It's going to be here in Richmond.
Oh, so we have to all fish the same pond?
No.
I thought, okay.
The award ceremony and party.
Okay. Gotcha.
Award ceremony and party will be here in Richmond.
Okay.
Which it used to be at the shop, and that's what has been tricky.
Sure.
Is finding a venue.
I would have given you my house for it. I wouldn't care.
I thought about doing my house, but I don't know how many people are going to show up, and I don't want the fire department involved. Because the turnout for that event has always been
like in the 30 to 50 range, right?
And more.
More. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Great.
It's just been super busy to the point where we actually have to cap the number of people in the shop and extend to the parking lot.
Right.
So I'm trying to
figure that out. Okay, so that's the hold up. So everybody knows, because it's smallest panfish, largest panfish. There's so many great things about it.
Yeah, smallest panfish gets a prize. Usually a fly that is much bigger than the panfish that you caught, and top 3 fish get a prize. Awesome. Top prize is a spring striper shad trip, which is
that's a great
prize.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 are gonna probably be gear. That's some sort.
That's awesome.
Whether it's a fly box, maybe a reel, something like that.
But still, no matter what, it's all fun. All right. Then after that, we get into October, and these are 2 classes that are worth their weight in gold. $450 for on-site, inshore saltwater class. It's not only the class, but then you're out. So you get a 4-hour lesson, 4 hours of fishing. I mean, Simone, this is like, for someone like me, this is money.
Oh, it's a great deal.
Yeah.
It is. That class is not like the other classes, which are designed for beginners. Which, by the way, if you can't make this casting lesson and you can't make this upcoming beginner's lesson, there will be more this summer. We will have more. I just haven't announced the dates. But I am organizing them, looking for the space. It's all a little different now that we don't have a brick and mortar. But there will be more. So don't stress it too much if you can't make it. Of course, if you can make it, sign up. If you've ever been curious about fly fishing, I can assure you're going to get your money's worth out of these classes.
Right.
The saltwater class is not for beginners. The saltwater class is for someone who already has a 40, 50-foot workable cast, who knows when I say, yeah, I tie a clinch knot versus a loop knot, they know what I'm talking about. I don't need a super high level. The intermediate angler is who I'm looking for here, or the advanced freshwater angler who's looking at like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go fish saltwater. So I'm looking at intermediate and advanced anglers for this class because it is real nerdy. We're going to be talking current. We're going to be talking salinity. We're going to be talking tides. We're going to be talking different bait that comes into the Chesapeake Bay at different times. We're going to talk about the seasonality of these fish, where they go at different points in the year. And we speak about the three fish that are, we focus on the three fish that are constitute the Chesapeake inshore slam, which is speckled trout, striped bass, and red drum. If you catch all three in one day, that's an inshore slam. We have caught various inshore slams on this class.
Wow.
So just something to point out. The fishing right after the class is usually very good, especially because once we get on the water, everyone knows what they need to do.
Correct.
And you're being guided by either Reed, myself, Keegan, or Wayne McMasters. So you're on the right boat, on the right spots, with the right gear, and now with the right knowledge.
Right.
And all of a sudden, that day, that if it was just a guided day, you would have caught 2-3 fish. You're just cleaning house.
Yeah.
Because you now know
what you're looking for, how you're reacting with the different current, the tides, bait fish sliding through, etc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we talk fly selection. We talk about how we all tie our different flies. I always say that it's funny because it's like a choose your fighter kind of situation. Because Wayne, Keegan, Reed, and I all argue quite a bit during this class. And I think that that's part of the gold in the class, is that we all can't agree. I start every class, I say, if anyone ever starts telling you how to fish and the right way to do it, you should just stop listening, because that person doesn't know enough to know they don't know that much. And those disagreements between Keegan, Reed, and myself and Wayne, they somewhere in there is the truth. But when you're out fishing, you're going to remember that conversation where we couldn't agree. And if it's not working my way, try his way.
Right.
And I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I'm guiding and I'm like, this is where I think the fish are going to be. And they're not. Like, well, Wayne likes a wind-blown bank. Let's try that.
And so all these things are processing in your head, and they will be in the angler's head after this class.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you'll hear Wayne and I argue about that.
Right.
Who's right? I don't know. Probably at different points, both of us, because we are chasing sentient thinking beings.
Right.
But the approach can be different, and we can still find a lot of success in our own different ways. So I find that choose your fighter situation with these classes are really good. Hearing Reed and Keegan gang up on me on my striper approach is hilarious. They know more than I do about that fish, especially when it comes to the fall fishery. So I'm like, really? That works? I can't believe it, but it does. It really does for them.
It does work for sure.
So it's a cool time. And then we get on the boats, and we usually run out of we try to every time. Most of the times we've done this class, I think 6 or 7 times. Every time but one time we went out of an area that allows for wade fishing, and it allows for kayak and canoe fishing pretty easily, and floatable inner tube fishing.
Right.
We focus on access for that class, because I know that at the end of the day,
not everybody has a boat or a skiff or something that can get you out there.
Right. And the goal of the class is to make it accessible, not only from the knowledge standpoint, but here's a really cool place that you can go wade. The big bonus, right? And we show you where the access is, and we show you the miles of bank you can walk and wade on, and chase redfish, stripers, and speckled trout.
Which is like so me, because I don't have a boat, I don't have a raft, I don't have a kayak. So I'm all about, because I grew up with wade fishing.
Yeah.
And, so if you don't know, you don't know.
And in Virginia, there's not a lot of spots like that.
Yeah.
That are consistently good. But this spot is consistently good. Like almost no matter, even middle of winter is pretty good. So it's a good, I love the class, and I love teaching with my brothers. Those guys are like my brothers.
Absolutely.
I talk to them day in and day out, and teaching a class with them for me is a complete joy. We just get a lot done in 8 hours, to where I think the angler gets not only a great time with the outing, but also the first 4 hours really understanding what it is that we're doing. Why are we making the decisions we're making?
And those classes are completely open right now, or are you starting to book those up?
There's a few
Spots
seats booked.
Okay.
But mostly open.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're mostly open. I know that each one of them has at least 1 or 2 spots booked.
Good. Okay.
But so either one of them has 7 spots open and the other one has 6 spots open.
Gotcha. So because you just announced them. So yeah, right.
Yeah, and
so,
we're still months out. So,
sure.
But every one of them that we have done has
It's
booked
always
solid.
booked out, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really popular one for us. I announced them early just in case they booked really heavy and I had tons of interest to open up a third one.
If you need to.
But we'll see.
Gotcha.
We'll see.
Bring up your website here for a second. There we go. Current Culture Fly. Under that, you can see classes and events. I'll open up that tab right there. We went through that. And of course, the guided trips. What do you want to go for? Brook trout. If you want to do a hunt, of course, that's fall and in through winter. Fall striped bass, northern fish. We got it all. There's Simone with the redfish.
I will be in the next few weeks opening up a 6-hour redfish trip for a little bit less money.
Okay.
Because the demand is there, but I'm not going to include lunches for a shorter day.
Mm-hmm.
I always favor the 8-hour because it very often takes that many shots to get one fish. And what hurts me the most sometimes is when I think we had a great day, but no fish to the boat. And we saw dozens, and then it's like, how do you do? Oh, we didn't catch anything. And it's like, oh, that just breaks my heart.
It's fishing, not catching.
Well,
I will go back to that all the time.
Well, but no, in my head is like, well, you had 20 shots.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Like, so it hurts my soul because I feel like I did so good. And the feedback is we didn't catch anything. And it's like, well, you probably came unprepared for what we were going to do.
Or how many did you lose in battle?
Or how many shots did you not make?
Right.
Which is usually the
other aspect of it as well.
Yeah. How many did you not see?
Right. That's always the thing too.
Oh, right? Yeah. How many, he was there, but
you didn't see him and he took off, and that was the end of that story.
That was the end of that story. So,
or you go out with me and you and we see 40,000 mullet and 2 redfish, and we're like, what the heck is going on?
That did happen. We
did see quite a few redfish, but it was like mullet city. It was
that was the first. Yeah, that was the first time we went out. There was a ton of mullet. It was just like sifting through the mullet to find a redfish.
It was, we had a couple of good shots, and we had one turn, and I trout set it. I totally lost that, and that never happened again.
You got a speck that day.
I did, yeah, absolutely.
But then the second day, you nailed it.
Yeah. I mean,
you strip set on that fish. He ran,
and it ran. It was going around your engine. Like, Matty, gonna listen. I'll listen to fish. Don't worry about it. We're good. We're good.
Skip that. Yeah.
You're like, wow.
Oh, all right. All right.
Okay, the man can move a rod quick.
Yeah. No, that was a special day too. Fun. That was a lot of fun.
It was really
having good. 2 anglers hooked up on redfish, side casted redfish at the same time.
Yeah. It was good. Woo. It was good. It was a good time.
But yeah, that's that. Lots of cool events happening.
All right. So just going back to this real quick here, because we're going to recap. Redfish now until the end of time, but you're going to also start moving into some blues. Like we'll go for redfish, but as the water gets a little warmer, blues, Spanish mackerel, all kinds of cobia if they're around.
Yeah. So if the day permits, we'll go into bigger water.
Mm-hmm.
I will also be booking those trips if you choose. I'm also booking spin fishing if you choose. I'm not pushing those trips. It's more of a, if you call me and you show interest, I'm a very flexible dude. I will go for whatever you want, whenever you want, as long as Matty doesn't throw terrible weather our way.
Throw 70-mile winds out of the east.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't do that.
But yeah, we will venture into a little bigger water. The blues are starting to show up with consistency now. Nice. We've gotten a few in the last few days, including some really nice ones. I'll show you some pictures. Then Spanish are on their way in, should be here anytime in the next couple of weeks. Cobia are being caught in the ocean out in front of Virginia Beach, and a few have been seen in the bay already. So
So they'll start to work their way in.
Yeah. So if we get the right conditions, and I'll put the big fish on the table.
Right.
Not that small redfish are actually small.
Right.
A small redfish is still 25 inches.
I mean, especially when you're seeing.
Yeah, that's 35. That's a
Okay. So, but I mean, the point is, I mean, these are
that's a 27-inch redfish. That's normal. Like that's pretty normal.
Yep.
Right. So it's not like small redfish are small or that they don't pull super hard. But if you wanted I will put the cobia and the bulls on the table, or if you just want to, if you want to catch a bunch of bluefish and Spanish mackerel, they'll be on the table, condition dependent.
Sure.
I always like to read the day and read the angler and just average those things out and put the right thing on the table for them.
Sure.
Just for some people, it's just like, I just want to go fishing.
Okay.
Well, you probably, if the conditions are right, we can get on a school of bluefish and Spanish mackerel, and
you can be there all day,
all day long.
Right.
For some people, it's I want to sight cast a redfish, and that's really what I sell. But for me, it's more important that the angler has the right experience, and I'm willing to bend a bit on what I thought the day was going to be to make that happen. And all of those things are frankly easier, with the exception of cobia, which that's a
different ball game.
Different ball game, but I always have the cobia rod ready to go on the boat in case we can make that run and run into them. And it's panned out before, and it'll pan out again.
Right.
So if the conditions are right, we'll make that move on those fish. So if you just want to go saltwater fishing in the Chesapeake Bay, light tackle, very light tackle, and fly rod. Preferably fly rod for me, but if you want to go light tackle, I do not turn my nose up at light tackle. Light tackle's a lot of fun.
It is
a lot of fun, and we catch a lot more fish when we go out with light tackle. So, that's
because, as you said the other day, it's easier for many people to cast a small light tackle rod than it is to cast a fly rod 60, 70 feet.
Right. Yeah. And there's days where it's just
the wind
picks up, and it's just like, here's the tool.
Yep.
And I always carry a spin rod, and I always carry a massive fly rod, both just in case.
You never know what's going to come around the corner.
Yeah, you never know. So
good deal.
It's like a box of chocolates out there, right? If the conditions lend themselves to it, you could just end up with a handful of different species to the boat any given day.
Yeah.
Especially, summer. Summer is just everything is in there.
That's awesome.
So speckled trout, redfish, striped bass, Spanish mackerel, bluefish, croaker, spot, cobia, bull reds. I was out with this one guy, and we ran into a king mackerel with John actually last year. We ran into a king mackerel. He made a shot at it, but that fish did not turn on it.
No,
it just bolted past. We will run sometimes into spades. There's just
so much so much variety.
It could be bluefish. Did I say bluefish? Bluefish, and more bluefish.
Yep.
The bluefish.
Once they're in like,
and it's cool because it's sight fishing, but it's very forgiving sight fishing. You're seeing them bust on top,
right?
And you just put that thing right through, and you're gonna come tight at some point. Those are just a blast. You get a lot of the experience of sight fishing without having to lay out 60 feet out into a hula hoop, which is margin is bigger. They let us get closer, and people catch a lot of them.
A lot because it makes it easier.
Yeah. So whatever level challenge you're seeking, I'm always excited to put someone on fish. Even dock lights. I will be running dock light trips this year, which I don't know if we did.
We did it toward the end. It'll be a little bit, we were out there for quite some time. Yeah.
But yeah, those dock light trips are so much fun. It's it's easy fishing. It's fun fishing. You catch a bunch of different things. You don't know what you're gonna get
because it's dark. And right?
It's dark.
It's a surprise.
And they're on structure, and there's fish there, but you can catch a striper, and the next fish might be a flounder. It could be just about anything. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Let me bring up the website one more time. Again, it is currentculturefly.com. You can check that out for all the guide services, the classes, and the guided trips. Again, request a trip on the bottom left there, and that brings you to the page where you can then decide what you would like to choose from, whether it's stripers or redfish or shad. They have them all. Then go through and pick your day selection as well. My guest today, of course, has been Captain Simon Valencia of Current Culture Fly. Redfish, redfish, redfish. That is his pride and joy. I promise if you hook up with him and go out there, you will absolutely have a day that you will remember forever. We'll see you again next time. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Off the Hook with MattyD.